Welcome to Contagious Podcast, Contagious Conversations for Automotive Innovation. I'm so excited to share with you the conversation that we had over on Clubhouse today. This is part of a 6-part series focused on NADA 2021 and the inability for us to gather personally. So what we wanted to do is create a platform and a space for us to connect as personally as possible. Some incredible panelists, people in our industry that are pushing forward with innovation. Hope that you're encouraged by the conversation today. Just as a note, if you're not familiar with Clubhouse, it's an open forum platform where panelists, speakers, and audience members are all involved in the conversation. So you'll hear potential of some people talking through each other or questions being asked by those audience members, and hope that you are encouraged by the messages and the innovation and the thoughts that are shared today. So without further ado, let's head over to the broadcast. Hey, I know there's a lot of people that just popped on up and speaking and down in the room. We're bringing people up. We're asking questions. There's comments. We've got some incredible moderators. Ping some people into the room. We are recording this room. I want to say that here at the top of the hour. It will be available via Contagious Podcast as of tomorrow, probably in 2 parts at this point, because I think we've got some really good stuff going on here. I was chatting with Michael offline. We've got literally an incubator for innovation right here on Clubhouse. It's incredible what we're able to do here on Clubhouse. So I don't want to slow down the progress of the room too much. I know we've just had a few people come up and want to speak or ask questions. Unmute and let's roll.
No, thank you for the opportunity, Kyle. As a community manager for a business that is very centric to the automotive industry, as well as very for the automotive industry, it's so refreshing to hear and to be on the stage with, industry leaders such as yourselves. And, all of us have this idea and this dream of it's for our people. And we need to get back to empowering our people, whether that starts at the leadership and all the way down through your porters and your lot attendants, right? And if we empower our people and we give them the skills that are necessary to work with our customers in face-to-face, in virtual, that to me is what will be so much of a game changer for us moving forward. And when we think about the future, right? The future needs to include our people. There's so many of us in this room who were given the opportunities to be speaking because we entered the car business. Some of us might not have gone to college. Some of us might only have high school degrees, right? But the industry that we're all here to support and know and love is built by people like us. And we need to keep the people in the business. We need to empower them. And we need to make it easy for them to work with these customers, whether it's digitally or still belly to belly on the showroom floor.
I was going to say something too that I think is very important, and I'm trying to see if I thought I saw Alex Flores on here a minute ago. I can't help but think about watching some of his stuff on Facebook. I don't know if he popped off or not, but he and some of you guys may have seen this, where he's got this thing where his crew, I don't know if it's Saturday mornings or Monday mornings, but they all get outside and they all start dancing. And what I recognize is not the dancing. What I recognize more importantly is the people that are outside of their comfort zone, yet following suit to the modeling that's being done by the managers. And I'm sure Alex started that himself, right? So it's like, so it makes me think, like, even I guess we're talking car business, but it's anything related. Like, if I walk into the facility every day and I walk back to the technicians to the degree that I know their names in 3 weeks, a month's time, and I'm saying good morning, I'm setting the pace, I'm setting the tone, I'm role modeling for these guys what the leadership looks like. The leadership is interaction, communication, it's positivity, it's optimism, it's how you doing, it's a smile on your face. These are small, tiny pieces that pay huge dividends, and nothing I've just said is rocket science. The key is not so much for the top leaders to do that, because most of us probably do those things, but can we influence the finance directors and the sales managers and the GSMs to comply? Can I get my service director to walk up front and get to know my sales guys' names? Like, this is the culture that radically changes an environment. And when an environment changes, the results change. And when the results change, everybody starts to move in the right direction. So to me, most of us that are in this room right now love the business. We love it for a couple of reasons. But the bottom line is we had an opportunity to make a lot of money, to do a lot of great things, advance our careers, high paced business, people oriented business, and again, it's just the culture is key, and it's the small things, especially from a leadership perspective, to just put a hand out, have your door open, sit down with your guy, talk about his life, what's going on, and make an impact, so you can influence him professionally once you really influence him personally.
Hey, I'm going to say that another issue that we have in our industry with culture is that we've got a whole bunch of dudes on the stage, and Logan and Maria were willing to jump up, and we've got a culture issue when it comes to hearing from different voices in different arenas of the public, and that means women, that means LGBTQ, that means everything, every different personality type, culture, and background. If that kind of culture comes into our industry and people are going, oh, wow, that's something that I want to be a part of, that's going to be a huge deal. So I want to open the floor to Logan and Maria, whichever you wants to unmute first, and add to the conversation or ask questions. What you got?
I'll go ahead. Okay. Thank you so much for this shout out. I think it's pretty interesting that even today we're still so under represented. So thanks for the opportunity to have us here. We're happy to be here. I was just thinking about how we're talking a lot right now about people and process, and I think it's a wonderful thing to reiterate. So my question is, for anyone that has a dealership or works at a dealership, what is a process that you're proud of? How did you implement it? And how do you support the ongoing use and accountability for the process?
Cough, Jared, take that. Oh, cough. Dang it, Jared. Come on, man. Keep it up.
We all talk about process. So let's hear it. What is a process that you are proud of that you've been able to implement successfully at your dealership, and how did you do it to, pass some wisdom on to some of the other listeners here on the call?
Jared, you're going to miss the layup, dude? Come on.
I'll jump in here. I guess I think it's funny because I was just having this conversation with one of our clients where the managers are trying to figure out what to do with the salespeople's leads when the salesperson's off. And I'm like, why don't you call it? Like the best way I got my team to follow what I was asking them to do was to do it on their behalf. There's nothing better for a salesperson to come back after a day off and have appointments already lined up because my manager thought enough of me to step up and do that. And I think it's really looking at it. When you want to inspect what you expect, you've got to be the driver of that, regardless of your seat. And I think that's just a basic tenet of leadership that too often goes missing, for our managers at the desk.
I'll take just a real practical one, and I think there's a lot of different people that are in here than were in the Tuesday midday room that we had, and I got the opportunity to talk about our process change from a negotiating dealer and a finance manager driven dealer to single point of contact. But the change management structure of changing a process takes time, which we hate as an industry. We're like, well, how can you get me better this month? But we wanted to take a vision that said, we're going to get down this road by, like Brian said, what are we doing right now so that 3 years from now we're prepared? And that was our thought 18 months ago. And I'll make the joke, I think we're ahead of a lot of people. But we honestly went really early, and we're having some struggles with that. But so it took 6 months. We had to have a town hall meeting. We brought everybody in. We said, this is what our thought is. is we took 2 hours of questions from every employee, from accounting to sales to service and all of that. And then we had a series of 6 meetings that we lined out all of these things, and we brought everybody in from different parts of the dealership. It wasn't just a team of 4, 5, or 6 in the executive level. It was a like everybody's idea in the end. And then after those 6 meetings, we had 2 whole weeks of training dedicated to just switching our price model. And then we had 2 whole weeks of training dedicated to just our technology. And I see Chip Perry, I think, is in the audience. We have this incredible technology called A to Z. But had we not done the 6 months prior to that of working through the change management, understanding what it took from a like employee, a human capital perspective, to clearly communicate to them and with them what it takes to change this process, the software at the end everybody would have looked at it and gone, okay, cool. If we would have brought that, 6 months prior, but then everybody was brought in and they were super excited. Ben said earlier, oh, this frees us up. This makes it easier. I see where we're going now. I see why we did this. And so that's what it took us. It's not just, you can't just like throw a bomb in it 1 month and then all of a sudden the next month you have a whole new process. It takes time. Culture takes time to create. Process change takes time to create. I hope that answers your question, Logan.
Yeah, great answer. I love that it had to do with, people in training and investing in your employees. So thank you for that.
Logan, I'll also answer the question that Ben wanted Jared to answer. There's one of the most important things that I've learned is that you have to do what you say you're going to do. And I'll give you an example. So we said we're going to have a 10% minimum in order for people to get internet leads. And for a long time, sometimes we held them accountable, sometimes we didn't. And Josh James was on stage when he got promoted. He was by the book, and it was one of those things that it was a guideline. We knew we were supposed to do it, but we just weren't as consistent as we were supposed to be. And when we started turning them off on the 15th and it got real, is when the performance improved. And we never went below 10%. After that point, it caused a lot of pain, but it was really because we weren't consistent with accountability. After that, when it was a hard stop, regardless if they were a 30-car person or if they've been with us for 30 years, it was getting turned off. So doing what we said we were going to do, regardless of who it was or the situation, is sometimes the simplest solution, and just doing is what you need to not be doing instead of what you need to be doing, and just stick to what you already committed to, because if not, you're sending a message that it's not that important.
Brian, one of the things I love most about what you just said is the equality in terms of accountability, where everybody was held accountable, not just newer folks or less experienced or people that maybe are further down the food chain, if you will. Everybody was held accountable, and that's critical.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on, and hi, Logan. So I'm, again, very, very grateful to be part of this group of people that it blows my mind, and I see you all on stage and I'm part of it. It's just awesome. Thank you so much. As far as your question, Logan, in a dealership and the process that I personally am proud of as a BDC manager is that I built a whole BDC team and put them on the floor with the salespeople. So I did not have a hub. I don't have a separate room for my people and myself. We all sit on the floor with our salespeople. We share their desks and we work together. So we don't have a one-person contact type of a process, but we have a sales buddy or sales partner process. So BDC agent and salespeople are one team. And we have been working on it for past probably 18 months. And it is work in progress, and it is a daily process, daily work in progress. And it's working great for us, but it is a lot of work. And the way I see any process working out to this point is you have to do it every day. There's no other day. I mean, like, you can try and have weekly meetings, you can try and have monthly meetings, you can try and involve higher up managers to help you enforce anything. If you as a BDC person or any kind of like a salesperson, if you don't do it daily and check in daily, and this is not like implementing or enforcing a structure or phone call numbers or anything like that. It's just being there and doing it. I make almost as many calls as all of my reps every single day on top of everything else that I do, and I really don't mind it. I don't have to, but like Michael here would say, I want to, and that's the difference that this whole thing made. So our store went from 8 in the country to number 2 in the country, and I assure you we're going to number 1 this year just because of that process. So that's me.
Girl, thanks for sharing. Amazing. Congratulations. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, did you hear what she said? Did you read between all those lines? Hey, it's Josh Cummins up here. It was a 4-letter word. It's called work. She works. She makes the calls. She's involved. She sets the tone. She sets the example, and she sets the pace for her staff. And I think that, we're sitting here talking about a lot of things with culture and a lot of things about the future. The future will not come unless we all work. This isn't easy. It's not an easy business. We've got to all dance backwards in high heels just to make customers happy, to make them repeat customers. It's a pride swallowing business that we're in. But the rewards of doing this and the rewards of creating a fantastic culture in your store are immeasurable and will carry us into the future. I understand why we're talking about culture, but the key element in that is work. It's always funny. We've all got more tools in our belts than we can carry, but nothing trumps work. Getting in front of people, getting them on the phone, calling, outworking the next door, knowing that all these players are coming into our business, knowing that all of you are out there trying to get better. What else motivates you? What else motivates you? The car business is not asleep anymore. It was so easy 10 years ago, so easy to stand above the crowd just by jumping these low hurdles. Customers have low expectations of our dealerships, and I think that they still have low expectations of our dealership, and therefore it's still easy to wow them just by doing the basics. So we all are fortunate in that aspect, but don't go to sleep. We can't be lulled to sleep thinking that we're making money, we're doing good enough for the customers, we're meeting some of their expectations, but they really didn't have any to start with. We got to get in the business of blowing people's minds. And by letting them know up front who we are, what we are going to solve for them, and how we're going to do it in each and every transaction as a business as a whole, but in each individual transaction with the customer. So the communication around how we are going to do the work, and behind the scenes, our leadership has to be doing the work to make sure that everybody who sees us on the floor, because everybody's watching you, the whole sales team's watching, the lot crew's watching. They're going to see if you're going to let people out early tonight because the weather's bad, or they're going to see if, you let somebody slide, they come in late, or you walk past a piece of trash on the lot. Man, it all matters. It all adds up to being very special ingredients to a wonderful culture. You try and leave eggs out of your cake that you bake. You know what's going to happen? It ain't going to be a good cake. So everything matters. So really cool you're having this room, and it's great that you guys are popping up and participating and sharing your experience from all over the country. And look at us. We coming together and sharing ideas to get better because, I always work and operate the best when I feel like an underdog, when I know my livelihood is threatened, and it's on. I love the competition. And that's really one thing that draws me to this business. So let's all build an awesome future for automotive. It's a lot of legacies are in this room. A lot of us have roots and blood that runs deep that we have to honor. A lot of people laid the bricks to this industry before us. A lot of people involved with building these cars. We've got such a fragile supply chain, and we're all feeling it this year. So just don't go to sleep by these profits, man. Let's all get busy. This is Josh. Appreciate you guys letting me speak.
Josh, that's an awesome rally cry for the Vroom Carvana overtone of this NADA theme. That's badass.
They've got no roots. They don't have the roots that we do.
Agreed. No, you just summed it up. I mean, there's nothing that they can do that we can't execute better with franchises, with better people, better, compensated people. And yeah, I mean, you summed it up.
Talking about the franchises, coming up in the car business, you always hear a little bit of negativity toward your franchise. Oh, they make you do this. Oh, they make you do that. We always hear it, but guys and girls, let's play the game. I promise you that if you step forward and you play the game and you get involved and you pay attention and you really take advantage of the programs and some of these things that the manufacturer is offering, they're there to help you win, believe it or not. I know it's overwhelming, and trust me, I know it firsthand, but they are there to sell cars. We are their customer. They want to sell us cars. They want us to represent them well in the marketplace. They want to grow market share, and they want to do it through us. But so often, so many times, a lot of you and a lot of other dealers just complain and resist and resist and resist. Meanwhile, somebody's picking up the ball and running with it. So there is no time to waste. So get in the game. Let's get busy and let's play ball.
What's really interesting too is I'm listening to you speak, Josh. I love everything you have to say. I've been in a few rooms with you, and I just love your outlook. Same with you, Brian. And this kind of made me think about, okay, well, how does this translate to how we currently market ourselves? As I put my marketer hat on, there's nothing worse than putting a promise out into the ether that I can't fulfill upon on the back end. And I think that's one of the biggest friction points that any of us might encounter. But also, I think we spend, as we look to the future, one of the things that I pray, dear Lord, not just dealers, but all of us as businesses get a good grasp on is the importance of shaping a relationship early on and not just spending all of our focus and energy and attention on getting quote unquote leads and being lead zombies, right? Like actually working a full funnel campaign and understanding the importance of how we can start building a relationship of trust very early on with awareness and why buy messaging and what's the difference between us and why should you choose us kind of messaging, and helping people with, back to Ben's point earlier on, like taking people by the digital hand and leading them through to our tender care and concern. I've heard a lot on Clubhouse, which I really love, this obligation that people feel to provide their service because they know that they have a desire to help people. And ultimately, when I look at the auto industry, the retail car business, one of the things that fascinates me the most is that I don't see it as us moving metal products or services. I actually see it as us providing freedom to people. And that might sound like a super far-fetched thing, but I think the more of us that can grasp the concept that we are providing freedom to people will shift the tone by which we promote ourselves and build relationships of trust with those in our community or those that we want to touch. And you might be saying, well, Michael, what do you mean we provide freedom? Well, I can tell you right now, it would be very difficult for my wife or I to bring a carpool of kids to the soccer game on a horse or on a bicycle. It is very nice loading them up in my truck or in my SUV. And bringing them there. And that is, when you stop and think about it, a lot of people are going, wow, that's super convenient. I really love that this is a part of my life. This is abundance. And so, I've worked with or been able to watch some dealers who, and I use Josh a little bit as an example, who I think see that and see the service that they're providing to people in the community and the freedom that exists inside of this model. And I think that propels us to work even harder for these people. Like, I love what Josh is saying about the importance of work. We have to work. No matter how far into the future we get, I still see a future where people are going to have to work. What else are we going to do? We're just going to become blobs, blobs sitting on the couch. I don't think so. And so the future for me, as it comes to like how we promote ourselves, so important that we start paying more attention to a full funnel approach to build relationships with why buy messaging, unique value propositions, higher funnel stuff, which by the way is going to cost you a lot less in the beginning to get people's eyeballs. I remember years ago, I interviewed Grant Cardone, and I asked him something. I can't remember the full details other than I asked him if content is king, because we talk a lot about content creation. And he said, content isn't king, eyeballs are king. And I thought about that for a minute. And then I realized how true it is. It doesn't really matter how much content I produce. It matters what message am I actually putting out there. Can I fulfill it? And the eyeballs that see that message, will they recognize that what I promised them online or in person is actually how it's going to play out on the back end? And so I think, for us dreaming of the future, the work that we got to put in is to let our minds go and say, hey, what's that crazy idea I want to explore today that I believe will improve the experience, that I believe will streamline processes, that I believe will build deeper and more meaningful relationships? And we need to have the courage and the desire to explore, implement, research, and develop those things. That's how I believe we move forward.
And it might not be the idea that, we get results from in 10 days or 2 weeks by the end of the month or the end of the quarter. And that's the issue.
Yeah, customers are not, they don't care. Like, there's customers that just started their buying journey today on the 10th of the month. They don't care about your end of month. They care about their timing. They care about the fact that they're acquiring information that's helping shape their purchase decision. They know when they show up what they're going to buy. What they don't know is who they're going to buy it from yet. And we have that opportunity to get in their view and build a relationship with them so that we can mitigate the confusion, so that they don't look at car dealers like that ice cream shop on the side of the freeway that sells 180 flavors of soft serve, which sounds like a great idea when you're driving by it, and then you get in there and you realize how tough it is to make a decision. They want to know for a fact that maple walnut was the flavor of choice and not regret it when they see somebody else eating something else. Did I just age myself?
Yeah. Hey, Michael, on freedom, just quickly too. I love your message on freedom, and we're seeing a lot of data that's saying the car is the new office right now. We got 1 in 4 who are saying that they're using their cars as a makeshift office. It's more than just freedom, practicality too.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes, you dated yourself.
I'm like an 86-year-old. I want that maple walnut, guys.
You were the one playing vanilla ice earlier, Paul, so don't start.
Hey, he's cool again. He's on Clubhouse today, first day. It's retro cool.
What are y'all young whippersnappers talking about?
Oh man, it's getting to the end of the day. We're getting a little sideways here, but it's absolutely fun. We're talking dreaming of the future here on Clubhouse, the future of automotive that's better for everybody, not just customers, but also employees. We talked a lot about culture. We've talked a lot about change management. We've gotten a little bit into the digital and how we appropriate tech after process and how change management goes through that. And we've also thankfully gotten rid of just the 6 white dudes only up on the stage, and we're starting to hear from more voices around the room. And I am so excited that my new friend Erica has joined the room, and I called her up to speak. I don't know if she's ready yet, but I'm going to keep talking. One thing that I want everyone, if you're not following already, you need to follow WOCAN, WACAN. And you can find that. They've got a website. They've got social media stuff. They've also got a Clubhouse event where you can meet all of the founders of WOCAN. That's Women of Color Automotive Network tonight at 9 Eastern. So I'm just expecting that if you get the kids down to bed, you're going to be on that one because there are some incredible people, powerful people in our industry that are pushing things forward. And I'd love to hear, Erica, how are you challenging our industry, dreaming toward a future that's better for our employees and our customers in the industry?
Kyle, thank you so much. What a wonderful introduction. And yes, it has been an amazing day today. So many great rooms and like this one. And yes, we are looking for a future that looks more like us. And that means with more people who look not like you and me and look more like you and me, right? How do we diversify automotive? How can we change what the picture looks like by making sure that we're a great representation of the customers we serve? And the only way to do that is to make sure that we mirror that our showroom floors and our digital spaces look like our customers as well, so they can feel comfortable. How do we bring more women in? How do we bring more minorities in? African American women, Hispanic, Asian, we represent less than 6% of the automotive industry, and even less than that when you talk about management and positions of power and influence. And if I had to take a dream of what it looks like, then I would say the future would be more diverse. The future would be more intentionally diverse. The future would be more inclusive of people who look different. And we need to change that narrative by making sure that we can offer a dealership space and a community where they feel empowered, where they feel they can get the work-life balance. And I think that's something everyone wants. I was in a room the other day and we said, well, women want work-life balance. And I think it was Brian Benstock who challenged me and said, no, everybody wants work-life balance, right? It's not just the women, everybody, the men, the women, young, old, millennials, the boomers, we all want to be able to balance this out. And we all want to be able to create a community that looks different. And I think for the change to happen in this space, we have to bring people in who aren't necessarily have the backgrounds that we do, that don't have the experience we do. So we get new innovative ideas, that we get new faces and new voices and new experiences. And the more you diversify the experiences, then the more you diversify the people who are going to challenge you to make those changes, step outside of your box, and create a culture that looks and feels a little bit different, a little bit safer, a little bit more full of color. And that's what it's about. And so me, Carrie Wise, if you don't know her, she's an amazing woman, Vice President of Marketing for TrueCar. Amanda Gordon, who's the first African-American woman to start a dealership in the state of Colorado. And Patrice Banks, who has a all-woman technician shop in Philadelphia where you can get your hair done and your nails done while you get your oil changed by an all-female staff of technicians. These are disrupting women who are making a difference in this industry, and we want to continue to make sure that the industry looks a little bit different. So thank you so much, Kyle.
Yo, is everybody just like running to go get charged up and get your team ready to go? That gets me so excited. Like, I want to implement that type of mentality and idea in our store yesterday.
Yeah, awesome, Erica.
You know who's really might have some insight into this, Erica? That's amazing. And being from Philly, I need to go visit that place like ASAP. Doug, Doug Cars has, I know Alex Vetter has put quite an initiative in place, and the executive board of Cars is incredibly diverse, especially when you match it up to, it's really a unique thing in the auto industry. Do you have any thoughts on that from your perspective? Just because I know Cars has been, really marching down that road and trailblazing a path for the auto industry in that area.
That's very generous. I think we're always trying to get better. I think Erica said it well. This is the future of automotive is more diverse. The future, our customers are more diverse, and our company has to keep changing to get perspective, to understand how that customer is thinking, what our customer experience should be like. We just need more voices in the room, more perspective in the room, and I think we're doing well. We are, we're taking good steps, and we're going to keep taking more steps. We've also done a lot of work with NAMAD and working with the North America minority-owned dealers and taking steps there. So, I'm proud of the work that we do in the space and trying to encourage the diversification. But I think it's leaders like Erica that are going to get us there.
No doubt. What time is that event tonight again, Erica, on Clubhouse?
It is tonight at 9:00, and it's all 4 founders. I had to drag and pull each of them because they're not all Clubhouse fans. They're so busy. Carrie's on a lot with Patrice. I had to bring her in. But at 9:00 tonight, we have a room. If you check up on the rooms and the invitations, you can see it tonight at 9. So yes, I would love to meet you guys. We also have next month, Kaiser University is giving a scholarship to women in automotive, and we're asking dealers, GMs, VPs, principal hiring managers to have a conversation with us in March to talk about how we can change the diversity in automotive by changing our hiring practices, making sure that we're not unintentionally biased. What is the psychology behind hiring people that look like us, right? We're familiar with hiring people that make us feel good, that have similar backgrounds to us, or that we have relationships with. And how do we make sure that we're not unintentionally only hiring people that make us feel comfortable, and maybe not going outside that box, and to not be stereotypical in that situation. So we actually have a psychologist from Kaiser University who wants to talk to GMs and dealer managers, talk about the psychology of bias, and make sure that we're doing a better job in making the dealership more a universal, diverse place.
Hey, Erica, this is Paul one more time. I am having a room on Friday, and David Lester is going to be in there. I would love for you to join Automotive State of the Union room. If you're up to it, if you could just follow me, I can invite you to that room on Friday at 2.
Absolutely. Consider it done. I'm there.
Thank you.
Look at how Paul solicits followers. Come on, man. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's all for the followers, man. You know,
that was so smooth.
Paul, what's
Erica's walk-up? What's Erica's walk-up music? We're gonna have to establish that now.
Oh, we will work that out. We'll work that out.
I love it. Making connections right here on Clubhouse. Hey, I'm gonna respect everyone's time. We'll let this room go for about another 15 minutes, especially the moderators that have been on here a long time. We do have a couple more people that have come up and we invited to speak. So I want to make sure and get to Stephanie and Nathaniel as it seems like they had some input, and if the moderators have any input that they felt like has come out of this, we'd love to hear that as well. Just to everyone in the room, make sure you're following people, not just on the stage, follow the moderators, but the people that have spoken, but also people around you. This app is incredible at connecting us across state lines and across the country in order to further this leadership and automotive innovation. This is my thought. Okay, so we've got, let's say, 100 some odd people have been on here throughout the afternoon. If each person took and dedicated time outside of this application to go tell 7 people, they say that you can have influence over 7 people in your life. That's the direct influence and relationships that you can manage. If you could tell 7 people within your stores, within your family group, think about that. That's now gone and taken that from 100 to 800 people that are thinking like this, talking about this, and having conversations. And then the rollout from there, if they get excited as you're excited about the innovation that we're talking about, it just gets exponential. So when we talk about change, we're not talking about change with the 100 people that are in this room right now. We're talking about change across the automotive industry. We have to get thinking outside of the box of, we're just going to have this conversation in Clubhouse, and we have to get it outside of there. So you have to take a leadership role. If you're in this Clubhouse right now, you have to take a leadership role in your own life and in the people's lives that you're surrounded with to make impactful change in our industry so that more people are attracted to it, to stay in it, to become employees, and to do business with us as franchise dealers and vendors. So I hope that encourages you. Again, this is recorded. If you do come up to speak, just a note on that, and we'll get to the couple few people and moderators. I'd love to have you kind of wrap the room here in just a couple minutes. So Nathaniel, did you have anything to add as you wanted to speak?
Not really. I didn't know dreaming of the future. I think one of the things that dealers aren't doing is that they're not reaching out to their community enough and sharing with the community with what they're doing in the community. And I think that, a lot of dealerships aren't pushing on social media the right message. I think a lot of dealerships are only posting, hey, buy this car, hey, buy this, buy that, when in fact, nobody cares. That it might be harsh to say, but if you're not giving value to your customer by showing them, hey, we're here to help you in any way we can, we're teaming up with this non-for-profit, we're teaming up with this business, and we've helped this customer and this customer get into the car of their dreams. We found their needs, and we're not getting the testimonials and we're not showing those, then if we're just hard selling all the time, we're not going to get the back of our community when we need them the most.
That's amazing. I think that dealers have such a big impact on our communities, and have the opportunity to tell that story too. I believe Damien just came up. I want to give Damien the opportunity, and then we'll get kind of some wrap ups from each of our moderators.
I have a dream that sales managers will be given the tools to develop fellow Earthlings to be successful salespeople, to be proud of what they do, how they do it, so that children can look up and I say, I love what Mama does. I love what Daddy does. He helps folks. But we have managers who are the celebrities, not trainers who are the celebrities at growing fellow Earthlings and humans that come to work in the store. That managers are staying in one spot and not having to jump around. That they can really take somebody brand new 5 years from now, have grown them, evolved them, and partnered with them to help them have a business of their own within the dealership. That's my dream. My dream is to have an industry that people are striving to get into this thing and want the change. And managers are the reason that they're successful. That's my dream.
Love it.
With not much time to spare, Brian jumped in. I know that Brian's a busy guy, and I'm gonna go ahead and let Ben and Paul and Doug and Michael and Brian, we'll go on that route, and then maybe Brian Benstock after you get through hearing those guys join in that conversation. I want to honor everyone's time and make sure that we're being respectful of everyone. I know everyone's got to get back to work or get families fed. So Ben, give us some thoughts as we're wrapping up this room.
Yeah, man. I would say say-do ratio is the big one that I want to reiterate. I would say that that's like both internal with your employees, that's training, that's relationships, that's expectation setting, that's marketing, that's fulfilling promises, that's the brand promise, that's everything. That say-do ratio is probably the most key thing. The next thing I think in the future dealership that is going to be the metric of most importance is the life cycle value of a customer, the LTV of a customer. I don't think we've paid enough attention to retention of customers. I think we've over tilted towards net new. And I think that the dealership of the future is going to be highly focused on retaining as many local customers as humanly possible. And I think if we do those two things, we make our industry more attractive. If you click in my bio, you'll see that my goal in life is to make automotive cool again. And I have a 6-month-old daughter, my first, and I'm hoping by the time she's 16, and she's behind the wheel, that it is something she wants to get into, that it is like, who is it, Brian? Who is Damien? Damien was saying like that she is knocking down doors, begging me to hook her up and get her into to something in this industry, because I think it's one of the most special places, and I have a ton of love for it. But yeah, that would be the big thing for me is make auto cool again.
Awesome, Paul.
Hey, so I just want to, when Nathaniel 2 comments ago, said nobody cares, it's something that I always talk about when that phrase exactly when I talk to dealers or any business really about thinking about how they're going to move forward, not only in their brand and their marketing, but also in their operations or customer experience and how they deliver their product or service. So when we talk about dreaming of the future, I think that writing that phrase on a whiteboard in your office or on your desk or in a notebook that says nobody cares, and start there. When you dream of the future, think, how can I make them care a lot? And so that's just kind of to sum it up, something I think that can help serve us well when we think about the future, how it should look, how we should present it, how we should sell it, how we would treat our internal team. Start with nobody cares, and then think, what changes are we going to make people care? Thanks for having me.
Of course, Doug.
Yeah, I got three wrap-up thoughts. Future of dealerships. One, as I said, future of dealerships are bridging online and offline way better than we are today, and merchandising that well and allowing for that experience, especially the local experience, where my 78-year-old mother bought a car and had it delivered by McGrath Lexus in Chicago and during the pandemic, and had no idea that was possible until this year. And so we've got to do more to merchandise that too. Our future dealerships are going to be more digital first, and let their digital first workforces really be the heroes, not the software, not the systems, not the data. It's that digital first savvy, TikTok savvy mindset that is going to allow for the brands to really pop locally. And then finally, I agree with Eric that the future of dealerships and the industry is far more diverse and inclusive than it is today.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug. Michael, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I think future dealerships are going to be much more simplified, smaller floor plans, bigger service bays, simplified process. And the focus will be, not just customer experience to purchase a vehicle, but customer lifetime value. Like, how do we create generational? They're going to be more focused on how do we create a generational buyer, parents who refer their children to come and buy and service their vehicle with us. And ultimately leverages a simplified process to spend more of their time validating and caring for each customer that comes within their tender care and concern.
Thanks, Michael. Brian.
I would just say to wrap up all the stuff that we talked about, that all that change and all that culture change and all the process change, the technology change, it requires a hell of a lot of trust between you and your people. And it requires a lot of, as Josh and Mike were saying, it requires a lot of work. So you can only push people to the level of trust that you've built. And if you don't have that trust, you're going to have it, because you're going to have to push very, very hard, because it's painful to go through this digital transformation. So your associates better trust you, and you have to trust them, because if you don't trust them, they won't trust the customers.
Very, very, very insightful there. I agree that level of trust. Brian Benstock joined us. If you don't know him, he is with Paragon Honda and on the Google Dealer Advisory, and a great hero for dreaming of the future. So, Brian, I'll let you have your first and last comments here as we're wrapping up this room, and then I'll wrap it for us.
Thank you, Ben. I'll try and be brief. We heard from you, the moderators, a couple of words: simplify. We heard digital. We heard painful, and I think the key to all of this, and what we're all trying to do, but in different ways, is to reduce the cost per transaction. And the digital age should enable us to greatly reduce the cost per transaction, which should make it easier for people to acquire our products, to take that friction out, and to be able to have a much broader marketplace. So, all of this, of course, comes around the customer. How do we make it easier for customers to do business with us at a reduced cost? And today I was on a panel with Chip Perry, and he was talking about one point of contact. Again, it's the same thing. It's how do we take the cost out of doing what we're doing? Google was talking about the ROAS and reducing that, the return on advertising spend. And again, it's the key is to reduce the cost per transaction. As margin compression returns, and it will, the winners of tomorrow will be the players that can best serve the customers at a reduced cost per transaction while providing an exceptional experience.
Absolutely. I think asking ourselves, how does the customer want to be treated? How do they want business done? And how do we set up ourselves with processes and people and a culture that allows us to do that at a level of excellence that we may have never seen in the automotive industry prior? Again, I'll encourage you, share what you've heard today with people around you and let them share that out. I'm excited. I thank everyone for being here. Again, follow the moderators, follow people in the room. I'll encourage you again, join WOCAN on tonight at 9 Eastern. We'll have 2 more of these NADA-centric rooms tomorrow at noon Eastern and 4 Eastern. And then also encourage you to join Modern Day Car Sales every day in the morning. And then lastly, Paul Daly will be having his Automotive State of the Union room this Friday at 2 p.m. These are places where automotive innovation is happening. And if you missed any of this or want to catch it or share it with friends, think that they would be interested in it, this will be recorded and put on Contagious podcast here tomorrow as well. Thanks for coming. Brian, did you have one more thing?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing we can say to people is your influence counts, use it, and do something. I mean, I love Clubhouse because we can exchange ideas, but there's no benefit in an idea unless it's employed. And so we've got to take what we're getting, make your own balanced decision. Don't listen to me, don't listen to somebody else, listen to the people that you listen to, and then come to your own intelligent choice, what you think is best for your career, your dealership, and or your people, those that are in a position to make decisions.
Absolutely. Use your influence because you have it. You're empowered. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate the moderators, Ben, Paul, Doug, Michael, Brian, and Brian. We will see y'all next time.
Thank you, Kyle. Killed it.
Thanks, Kyle. Crushed it, man.
Thank you so much for listening today. We hope you enjoyed that. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and the innovation and the insights that happened on Clubhouse. As always, please like, share, comment, give this to those in your workplaces or friends or family that may be encouraged by it. And what we need from you is for you to be a part of this conversation, to have this conversation with more people and not less. We need more voices and not less in our industry pushing forward toward innovation, and that includes you. So as you go forward, as you listen to this, as you think about this, make sure you don't have just internal dialogue, have conversations with more people so that we can provide an innovative atmosphere where more people want to become a part of it and work in the industry as well as do business with us. Thanks for listening to Contagious Podcast.